Welcome everyone to Therapeutic Yoga class today. So our entire focus for today are these things right here, the hands and wrists. So who this class is really intended for are individuals that are having some problems with their hands and wrists practicing any type of yoga. And so the issues may be multifaceted. So if you've got hand arthritis, wrist arthritis, this class is for you. If you've got carpal tunnel syndrome, this class is for you. If you've got some sort of thumb issues going on related to arthritis or any sort of tendonitis, this class is for you. If you've got trigger finger, this class is for you. If you've had a past wrist sprain or fracture, this class is for you. If you have neck pain associated with wrist and hand symptoms, in the medical literature and in the medical world, that is called a double crush injury, meaning that there's neural tension coming from your neck affecting your hand. This class is for you. So we're going to be doing a lot of general techniques with our hands and wrists, but the entire intention is to prepare the hands and wrists to practice yoga. With that being said, the first half of our class is going to be in sitting. We want to do lots to improve the neural tension of our upper quadrants, to increase the flexibility of our wrists and our fingers, and to improve our motor control. The other thing that this class is going to be really, really helpful for are those of you that have high stress or really high functioning anxiety. Listen, guys, I'm in that group. I'm always planning the next minute. It's just who I am. So sometimes meditation and mindfulness exercises are very difficult for me. You might be like me. So if you are, the type of mindfulness and meditation that's very beneficial are exercises or mindfulness activities where you're moving, so movement-related breathing activities. That's kind of what it's called. And so we're going to do a lot of movement with our hands and wrists and associate it with breath work. And so it's a very good way to focus your mind and calm your body when you're that person that's always on to the next step, the next step, the next step. So we kind of have a twofold reason for today's class. Now, what you're going to need, you need a chair, and it can be any type of chair with wheels like an office chair or just a standard chair. It can even have armrests. Not going to make a difference for today's class. But what I would like you to have is a chair that you can sit unsupported, meaning you're not using the back of the chair, and your feet comfortably rest onto the floor, so that the entire time we're focusing on moving our hands and wrists and our breath, we can work on our alignment of our trunk and engage some really good core muscles. When we hit our mat for the latter half of today's class, we're going to talk about ways to modify yoga so that you can do it even if you have any of those risk conditions that I talked about. So a couple of things you might want to think about grabbing right now before we start class are just a couple of face cloths. I'm going to show you how you can modify your yoga poses on your hands using something as simple as face cloths. More advanced and a little bit more expensive than a face cloth are silicone pads that or viscoelastic pads. I love yoga jellies. That's what these are. So something like that if you've got that at home. A third thing that you can use is either a yoga wedge or slant boards. I'm going to show you how to use those if that's something that you're interested in. And then finally, if you are somebody that's dealing with acute wrist and hand pain, meaning you are currently dealing with symptoms that are stopping you from even thinking about practicing yoga, then a bolster comes in really good handy, because then you just take your wrists and hands out of the equation to do your entire weight-bearing practice. So any of that you might have at home, go ahead and grab right now before we really begin our class. All right. With that said, let's begin our class. So have yourself on the front half of your chair. So if you look at your leg bone, half of the leg bone, place that on the chair. The front half of the leg bone, have it off of the chair so that the crease of the chair is kind of meeting the meat of your hamstrings and not your tendons, which is a good thing. And then make sure that you have your feet flat on the floor and about hip distance apart. So if you were to take your two fists and place them down between your big toes, that's a good alignment cue for knowing that your legs are the right distance for correct alignment. If you're somebody that tends to have your legs falling out a lot, what I really want you to focus on relative to your sitting is keeping that leg alignment with hip distance. If you're someone that the very first thing you do when you sit is cross your legs, then what I really want you to work on is keeping the weight bearing in your feet so that you can do some good strategies of firing stabilizers in your pelvis while we're doing something as simple as working our hands and wrists today. All right, with all that being said, take a moment to just gently pelvic tilt and tuck. Feel that the height of your chair is high enough that you're not going to be creating tension into your low back, pelvis, and hips. So if you can easily roll your pelvis back and easily roll your pelvis forward, chances are the chair that you're sitting in is a fairly adequate height for you. If your chair is too low, you cannot roll your pelvis forward, go ahead and find a pillow or something just to stuff underneath your sit bones right now. And once you do, then roll your pelvis forward and backward a few times. Find that position of your sit bones on your chair. Sit your spine up nice and tall. And once you have that position, think about where your hips are. And then start to, with a straight, stable spine, start to slightly hinge forward until you feel weight in your legs. That's going to do two things for you. One, it's going to stop you slumping as you're sitting, focusing on yoga today. Two, it's going to allow you to automatically engage your core muscles, which is exactly what we want to do while we're doing our seated yoga practice today. All right. Now, when we're dealing with our wrists and hands, oftentimes one of the key reasons we overuse them in yoga practice is because our shoulders and our shoulder blades are too weak or there's some amount of muscle balance dysfunction. So we're going to do something with our arms and our shoulder blades many, many times today in sitting. It is oftentimes in the physical therapy world called pivot prone, P-I-V-O-T, pivot prone. Its origination is when babies start to lay on their bellies and they lift their arms up off the floor. And from a neurodevelopmental standpoint, that's where it gets its name. But I want you to do this with me at home. Take your hands, place your hands in the center of your chest, palms together, thumbs together, all four fingers touching one another. Make sure you've got that weight down into your feet. You feel like you've got abdominal and core muscles in your back engaged. You feel your pelvic floor on your chair. Then take a nice deep inhale. And as you inhale, slowly lift your hands upwards to the ceiling. Then turn your palms so that your palms are, trying to raise the roof, trying to touch the ceiling. Your elbows can still be bent. Your elbows can be straight, whatever's comfortable for you. And then imagine that you're trying to frame a door. So if you framed the top of the door, and then as you exhale, come down the sides of the door, keeping your forearms perpendicular with the floor. Now, if you're at home with me, and as you do this, you see your forearms kind of angled forward. You have that muscle dysfunction and weakness that I'm talking about. So today, to treat your wrist and hands, I really want you to treat your shoulder blades. So you're going to be focusing on trying to keep those forearms perpendicular as you drop your arms down. Believe it or not, half of the reason we overuse these things is because they're not connected to our trunk. So our pivot prone exercise that we're going to do with breath repetitively today is going to help us connect our wrist and hands to our trunk. All right, let's try it 2 more times. So hands to the center, thumbs, all 4 fingers touching the opposing side. sitting nice and tall. Can you check in that there's weight in your feet? If you're that leg crosser, if you're that person that lets their legs fall out to the side, can you check in that your knees line up with the middle of your feet? All right, here we go. Nice deep inhale, lifting the arms as high as you feel comfortable, turning the palms. And then as you exhale, slowly framing that door. Look at your right forearm. Is it perpendicular? Look at your left forearm. Is it perpendicular? Now stay right there. Your pinkies are to the back of you. Slowly try to pull the pinkies back a little bit more. Can you feel the muscles in your shoulders and your shoulder blades contracting? Hold this position right here. Take a nice deep inhale into your belly. And then as you exhale, slowly let it go and bring your hands to the center of your heart. All right, let's do it one more time. Nice deep inhale, lifting the hands up, going as high as you feel comfortable, turning your hands, and then exhaling, framing that door. Take a look at your left forearm. Is it perpendicular? Take a look at your right forearm. Is it perpendicular? Come down to where you can keep them perpendicular. Now, pull the pinkies back. Feel the shoulder blades and the back muscles engage when you do that. Take an inhale, hold it here. And then as you exhale, slowly bring those palms together back into the center. Very nice. Taking your hands now and just resting them on your thighs. Checking in that you keep that shoulder blade position as you do that. Weight through your feet. Feel your pelvic floor on the chair. Lengthen your neck, settle your chin. And now let's start to do some movements of our fingers with movement of our breath. So you're going to work on extending. So that's the wrist moving outward and the fingers straightening on your inhales. And then when we exhale, we're going to curl things together. And so we're going to be contracting on the exhales and expanding on the inhales, just like our lungs do. So with your hands resting on your thighs, feel free if you want to close your eyes for this. Focus on your thumb and your index finger. And take an inhale and lengthen those two fingers as far away from one another as you can. And then as you exhale, curl those two together. Can you get the tips of them to touch? Release those two fingers. Focus on your middle finger and your thumb. Can you inhale and lengthen those two fingers as far away from one another as you can? And then as you exhale, can you curl them towards one another, tip to tip, give them a little bit of a squeeze. Release those two fingers. Go to your ring fingers and your thumbs. Can you inhale, lengthen those two away from one another? And then as you exhale, can you slowly oppose them and touch tip to tip and give them a little squeeze? Release them from one another. Go to your pinky and your thumb now. Inhale, lengthen the pinky and the thumb away from one another. And then as you exhale, slowly bring them together, touch tip to tip and give them a little squeeze. Release pinky and thumb. Go back to ring finger and thumb. Inhale, lengthen them far away from one another. Exhale, oppose them together, tip to tip, squeeze as they finally touch together. Release them. Middle finger and thumbs. Inhale, lengthen them away from one another. Exhale, oppose them together, tip to tip, give them a little squeeze. Release those. Finally, going back to that index finger and thumb. Inhale, lengthen them away from one another. And then as you exhale, oppose them together, really give a nice good squeeze, tip to tip right there. You've got it. Now bring your hands up in the air, wrist and fingers all moving together here. Can you inhale, spread your fingers apart and let your palms kind of face away from you. And then as you exhale, can you bring all your fingers and your thumbs in like you're making nice, big, tight fists? Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, lengthen them all away, extend the wrists. And then as you exhale, slowly bring them all together into those fists, nice and tight. And last time, inhaling, extending them, extending those wrists as you show your palms away from you. And then exhaling, pulling them all in, real tight fists here. You've got it. And then slowly rest your hands back down onto your thighs. Now, If you're in class today and you've got arthritis in the knuckles of your fingers, or you might be dealing with some sort of trigger finger or something like that, this next thing is for you. So what we're actually going to be doing is stretching the long tendons of our palms, one hand at a time. So place your right hand down onto your right thigh. Grab your right index finger with your left index finger and thumb. Take a deep inhale, and without lifting the palm of your right hand, as you inhale, lift that finger as high as you can and feel that stretch into the tendon and the knuckles. And then as you exhale, let it go and push that index finger down into your thigh. Then go to your ring finger. Grab a hold of it with the left hand. Keep the palm in contact with your thigh. As you inhale, lift. If you get pops, that's okay. Lift it as high as you can. So you're lifting it up. And then as you exhale, push it down and push that entire middle finger down into your thigh. Go to your ring finger. Take an inhale and lift that ring finger up really, really high. Palm stays pressing downward. And then as you exhale, push that ring finger down and push it down into your thigh. Finally, going to the pinky. As you inhale, lift that pinky nice and high, but keep the palm pushed downward into your thigh. And then as you exhale, push that pinky down and engage those flexor tendons into your thigh. All right, finally, the thumb. You got to be careful with the thumb because of the base of the thumb joint oftentimes becomes arthritic with age. So before you start to pick that thumb up, grab it with your index finger and your thumb of your left hand and kind of give it some pull, give it a little bit of a distraction. So grab a hold of it. Then palm staying in contact with your thigh. Inhale, lift your thumb up a little bit until you feel tension in those flexor tendons. And then as you exhale, put the thumb into the thigh and give it a nice, good grip. You've got it. Relax that hand. Let's move on to the left hand, onto the left thigh. Index finger and thumb on the right hand this time are doing it. So grab that right index finger. Palm of the left hand stays in contact with the left thigh. Take an inhale and lift that index finger up. Feel that stretch to those flexor tendons. And then as you exhale, drop that finger down and push it down into your thigh. Middle finger, grab it with your thumb and index on the right. Left palm, push it down into your thigh. Take an inhale and lift it up. I got to pop on that one as well. Hold that stretch of that middle finger. And then as you exhale, take that middle finger and push it down into your thigh and engage and strengthen that tendon and the muscle. Go to your ring finger. Grab a hold of the tip of it. As you inhale, pick that ring finger up and really stretch through those flexor tendons. And then as you exhale, push that ring finger down as hard as you can into your thigh. You might even feel shoulder muscles engage. Going to the pinky of that left hand, palm stays in contact with the thigh. Inhale, lift that pinky up. Feel that gentle stretch to that flexor tendon. And then as you exhale, push that pinky down into your thigh. Finally, going to that left thumb. Again, don't just pull it up, because if there is arthritis in the base, you're going to make your thumb pretty angry. So just take your thumb and kind of pull it a little bit away from the wrist first. Palm stays in contact with your thigh. And then take an inhale and gently lift that wrist up. Feel that gentle stretch through the palm and the flexor tendons. And then as you exhale, pull that thumb and squeeze it downward into your thigh. You've got it. Very nice job. Now take your hands into the air. You can bring your arms straight out if you like, or you can just kind of rest your elbows by your side, whichever way you want to do it. But take an inhale, lift the wrist up, and as you exhale, circle them outward and bring them down. Inhaling up, exhaling down. Kind of looks a little bit like jazz hands, I think. Inhaling up, exhaling down, and then inhaling up, and then exhaling down. Can you reverse the order? Go out first. Inhaling up, exhaling down. Bet you're not thinking about the next moment right now, are you? Inhaling up, exhaling down. 2 more times. Inhaling up, exhaling down, and inhaling up and exhaling down. All right, let's do a little bit of shoulders with this. So all I want you to do is take your fingers and your thumbs and touch them onto your shoulders. Remember, shoulder strength and shoulder blade strength is half the reason we overuse our wrists and hands in the first place. So just gently place them on your shoulders. Make sure you haven't lost your seated alignment. And then in this position, it's the elbows you want moving here. So inhale them up and exhale them down. Only do it if you don't have shoulder pain. Inhaling up, exhaling down. You either picked clockwise or counterclockwise. Inhaling up, exhaling down one more time. Inhaling up, exhaling down. Can you reverse the order? Going backwards if you want. Inhaling up, exhaling down. 3 more times. Inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, and exhaling. And one more time. Inhaling and exhaling, releasing your fingers, placing them back down onto your thighs. All right, 3 more pivot prones. Let's strengthen those shoulder blades and shoulder muscles. Hands to the center of your heart here, sitting nice and tall. Check in, you still got the weight through your feet. All right, let's do it. Take a deep inhale, lift the arms as tall as you feel comfortable. Palms to the ceiling. And then as you exhale, come down, look at the right forearm, look at the left forearm, pinkies to the back, go down as far as you can, give them a good squeeze, take a deep inhale here. And then as you exhale, bring your hands back to the center of your heart. Let's do it again. Nice deep inhale, lifting all the way up, turning those palms up, framing that door as you come down in your exhale. Look at your left forearm, look at your right forearm. Go as far as you can, pull those pinkies back. Stay right there. Give me a nice deep inhale. And then as you exhale, bring the hands back to the center one more time. Inhale, lifting all the way up, turning the hands to the ceiling, framing that door, exhaling down. Look at the right, look at the left. Are you getting it there? Pinkies to the back, squeeze through those shoulder blades. Take a deep inhale here. And exhale, hands to heart. You've got it. All right, so we just focused on trigger finger. Now we're gonna focus on what I believe is one of the best things to do if you've got carpal tunnel syndrome. And so for those of you that don't know what carpal tunnel syndrome is, you've got a median nerve, a nerve that runs smack dab in the center of your wrist. In your wrist, you have multiple bones called your carpal bones. There are, in fact, there are 8 carpal bones. I had to count them. There are 8 carpal bones, and you've got that nerve that runs on top of them, and then you've got a thick piece of fascia, of connective tissue that lays on top of that nerve. And so with people that have carpal tunnel, oftentimes it's because their wrists are in a position of prolonged position that stops that nerve from having good mobility. So the best thing you can do is to put tension into that fascia, that connective tissue, and give that nerve a little bit of space. So see if you can do this with me. We're gonna do the left hand first. I'm gonna keep my wrist in front of my black shirt so that you can see what I'm doing. Take your left fingers and place them on the palm side of your wrist. Once you have them on the palm side of your wrist, bend your wrist downward and then take the skin of your wrist and with the fingertips of your left hand, try to pull the skin down towards that right elbow. Hold the skin down, and then as you inhale, try to extend your wrist. If you've got a tight fascia of your wrist, you will feel tension and burning. Let's try it one more time. Pull that skin downward towards that right elbow. Take a deep inhale and extend that wrist back. I even got a nice little tendon pop that time. I don't know about you. All right, let's try it on the left side. So again, place the right fingertips into the wrist on the left side, then bend your wrist downward, and you're trying to pull the skin down your forearm. So grab with your fingertips that skin and pull it down. Hold it down. Then take an inhale and try to extend your wrist. My left carpal tunnel is way tighter than my right. Try it one more time. Grab a hold of the skin of your wrist, Pull it downward towards your elbow. Then inhale, try to extend your wrist in the opposite direction. You've got it. And then slowly release. All right. Now, for those of you that are like, what, we are still in the sitting position, let's give our low backs a nice little rest. So let's do a nice, good sequential flexion of our low back, because we're just not done in sitting yet. We now need to treat our nervous system of our upper body. So do this for me. Take your legs and bring your legs wider than your chair. So what you're going to do is you're going to dive your head straight down and release all of the muscles of your middle back and lower back, and hopefully even through your gluteal and hip muscles and rotators. So make sure that your knees still stay stacked over the center of your feet. Start with your head first. Take a nice deep inhale. And then as you exhale, start to bring your chin towards your chest. And then slowly start to curl your rib cage down. Your gaze stays straight down. Your focus is to go all the way sequentially into a forward fold. When your shoulders get near your knees, drop your hands towards the floor and let your entire body fall between those knees. Now keep your neck long. Keep your chin tucked inward. So you are looking at the back of your chair here. In this position, allow yourself to take a nice deep inhale into your belly. Really stretch out through that low back. And then slowly exhaling out. Take another deep inhale in. And then slowly exhaling out. Now, begin to push your feet into the floor. Feel all of your leg muscles contract when you do that. Then think about where your tailbone is and your pelvis, and use your abdominal muscles and the muscles of your pelvis and hamstrings to start to uncurl the tailbone first, then the pelvis, then the lowest part of your low back, and then very sequentially uncurl yourself. Keep your gaze down, keep your neck down. When you get to the point that you're ready to roll your shoulder blades back and down, then begin to lengthen your neck. And then finally, your gaze comes back upward. So that is a forward fold in yoga, modified in the chair. In the physical therapy world, that's actually called a Williams flexion exercise. One of the best exercises to do for people that have low back stenosis, just by the way. Okay, bring your feet back in, feet hip distance. And now let's get on to working the nerves of the upper half of our body here. So those individuals that maybe have a neck problem that's causing hand and wrist problems with their yoga, we want to make sure that we do some good, nice tensioning and lengthening and flossing of the nerves of the upper half. I'll tell you, the best person to watch doing nerve flossing and exercises is an amazing physiotherapist from Australia named David Butler. If you want to listen to the experts on nerves of the upper body, Mr. David Butler is your guy. So maybe Google him if you're interested in that. He's got some great YouTube videos that match movement of the upper body with actually songs. It's fantastic. Today, we're going to be matching our movement with breath. So we're going to start with our right arm, and we're going to start with the median nerve. So there's three main nerves in each of your arms that you need to make sure that you get good flexibility of. We're going to start with the one that causes the most amount of issues in the hand, which is the median nerve. So here's what I want you to do. Gently place your right hand out to the side of you. Check in that you still have weight through your feet. Pelvis is in a neutral position, nice long spine, neck is long, and your chin is gently settled. Now, in this position, keep your shoulder blade down. Slowly allow yourself to bring your arm gently out to the side. Once you have your arm out to the side, slowly allow yourself to turn your palm upward. Keep your elbow straight. And now with your wrist, and only your wrist, allow your fingertips to point downward towards the floor. Okay, now keep the shoulder blade engaged downward. You probably feel some tension in your arm. So what we're going to do is move our head and our arm with our breath. So very gently with your fingertips pointed downward to the floor, slowly let your head gently tilt to the right side. All right, so here's what we're going to do. You're going to take an inhale and point your wrist up to the ceiling, tilt your head gently away. Keep that elbow straight. And then as you exhale, wrist down, ear towards that right shoulder. Now, if that shoulder is starting to creep up, pull that shoulder back down again. Let's try that one more time. Inhale, fingertips and wrist up, head tilted away. Exhale, fingertip and wrist down, head tilted towards. So keep that head tilted towards in this position. Pull that shoulder blade back down. Stay right here for a second. Take a deep inhale. Gently reach your arm behind you. Can you feel the nerve tension? Exhale, bring it back. One more time. Inhale, reach that nerve behind you. There's the nerve tension for some of us. Exhale, reach it back and relax the arm down. Left side, bring the arm down beside you. Slowly bring your arm up so that it's at the level of your shoulder, and then turn your palm upward. Okay, now begin to take your wrists and your fingers and point them down. You've got it. So in this position, you're putting tension through there. Keep your shoulder blade down. Gently drop your your head so that your ear is towards your left shoulder. All right, let's try the same thing we did on the opposite side. So as you inhale, wrist goes up, fingertips go up, tilt the head away. As you exhale, wrist goes down, head tilts towards, keep that shoulder blade down. Don't let your shoulder be an earring. Let's try it again. Inhale, wrist up, fingertips up, head tilts away. And then exhale, tilt the wrist down, fingertips down, head tilts towards. Okay, keep the head tilted towards. I'm not trying to cause a problem here. I'm trying to fix some neural tension with you guys. So keep the head slightly tilted to the left. And let's add that arm behind us. So inhale, reach the arm behind. Can you feel that tension through that median nerve? Exhale, coming back. One more time. Inhale, reach behind. Exhale, coming back, and relax the arm, relax the head. Okay, that's one nerve, the main nerve problem, but we're going to work on the other two as well. So the radial nerve is the next one we're going to do. So here's what we're going to do. Go back to your right hand, take your arm, bring it beside you, turn your palm all the way around, kind of like you're reaching for something behind and underneath something, and then bring your fist together. So that's where you're putting some nice, good tension on that nerve. Now, gently allow yourself in that position to tilt your head away. Okay, let's see if you can do this. So staying right there, you might feel some stress and tension through the front of your shoulder. Can you inhale, relax your hand, bring your nerve towards it? Can you exhale, make that wrist around and tilt away? Let's do that one more time. Inhale, relax, head goes towards. Exhale, twist that hand, make that fist, tilt that head away. Very nice. Now, allow yourself to relax that arm, relax the head. We're not doing any more than that for the radial nerve because it's not a major nerve when it comes to the wrist and hand. But I want to make sure we cover them all. Left hand, bring the hand down beside you. Turn the palm away from you and make a nice, good fist with it. You should feel tension if there is nerve tension in there. Staying in that position, gently tension your head away. You might feel more. You've got it. All right, let's try the exact same thing here. So as you inhale, relax your head, relax the arm. As you exhale, turn the palm away, make a fist, and tilt the head to the opposite direction. One more time. Inhaling, tension off. Exhaling, turn that hand, make that fist, tilt that head to the opposite side. And relaxing. All right, Last nerve, in my opinion, the most fun to play with. And this is for those individuals that have some issues on the outer part of their hand, more likely. And that is for the ulnar nerve. So here's what we're going to do with the ulnar nerve. Take your index finger and your thumb and make a circle. In fact, that circle is going to match your eyeball, but we need to put full tension on that nerve. So can you at home take your right hand and turn your fingers so that your fingertips are pointing downwards on your face? Make that goggle go through your right eye and have your right elbow up in the air. Now, can you relax your right shoulder down? All right, we're not going to move our head this time. We're going to move our elbow. So can you inhale, try to reach your elbow a little bit back without moving your trunk? Can you exhale and let it come forward? One more time. Inhale, reach that elbow back. Maybe you just feel some stretch through your chest. That's okay. Exhale, come on back to the center. And then very slowly relax that goggle down. Let's try a left goggle. So index finger and thumb together. Then turn the palm so it's upward. Place the goggle over the eye. I just literally poked myself in the eye. That was fabulous. Have it so that the fingers are pointing downward. Left elbow is out to the side of you. Now really relax that left shoulder. Okay, so 2 breaths here. Take that inhale, pull that elbow back. Keep your trunk stable and forward. As you exhale, relax it forward. One more time here. Inhaling, reaching back with that elbow, maybe a bit with the neck, and then exhale, relaxing, and then slowly bringing that arm down. You know what? Last major thing for us to do on our nerves and sitting, let's try both goggles together. Have fun, laugh at yourself at home. So make your 2 goggles with both eyes. Do you have enough coordination and skill to double goggle yourself? All right, so here I am making an absolute fool of myself, but I'm helping my ulnar nerves. I see through my index fingers and thumbs. Okay, can we do 2 breaths here, moving these elbows? This is a tough one. Can you inhale and try to pull your elbows slightly back? It's a small movement. And then exhale, relax the elbows forward. One more time here. Inhale, pull those elbows back. And then exhale, relax them forward and drop them down. Did you have any idea you could exercise your nerves by making yourself look so silly? Right. Okay. Final thing to do in sitting, and we are about to hit this floor. Let's go through those shoulder blade exercises that are the most important to connect our arms to our trunk for practicing yoga. Hands to the center of our heart. Let's do it. Take a nice deep inhale, lifting the hands nice and high, turning the palms to the top of that doorway, and then exhaling, framing the door. Look at your left forearm, look at the right forearm, pinkies to the back. Now, inhale, really pull those pinkies backward. Feel those shoulder blades engaging. And then exhale, gently bring the hands to the center of the heart. 2 more times. Inhaling, lifting. Palms to the ceiling. Exhale, coming down. Look at the right, look at the left. Can you get those perpendicular forearms? Pull those pinkies back. Give me a nice deep inhale. And then exhale, hands to the center of the heart. One last time. Inhale, lifting up, turning the palms to the ceiling, exhaling, framing the door. Again, look right, left. Are the forearms perpendicular? Pull those elbows down, pull those pinkies back. Gosh, I even felt my glutes engage on that one. Take a deep inhale here. And then as you exhale, bring your hands to the center of your heart. Thank you guys. We're doing so well with these wrists and hands. Now, we are done in sitting. So what I want you to do with me at home is to allow yourself to get up out of your chair, move your chair out of the way, and then gently make your way down to the mat, and we'll all meet up together in child's pose. All right, so here we are in child's pose. Let's do a nice good stretch through our back again, like we did in sitting. Just to kind of not forget that it oftentimes is an area that gets stressed when we've sat too long. So check in that your knees are hip distance. Can you gaze back and see that your feet and your ankles line up with your knees and hips?
Just gently drop your elbows down and out to the side and let the crown of your head rest onto the floor. If the crown of your head does not make it to the floor, allow yourself to find something to support the crown of your head on so that there's no tension in the back of your neck. Now take a nice deep inhale into your belly and then exhaling outward. One more nice time here. Deep inhale into the belly and then exhaling outward. You've got it. Now, moving up into our hands and knees. So the weight bearing on the wrists and hands is what causes the problems in the practice of yoga. It is oftentimes hands and knees pose, downward dog pose, anything that you're pushing into your hands if there are issues with your hands. So today, what I want to do is show you great options to accommodate for that. And then we're going to play with using those modifications. So option number one and the cheapest, take a face cloth and roll it lengthwise once you have folded it in half. Once you have done that, you need two because you got two wrists, can't use the same one. Now, I will tell you, I have on occasion when I've been traveling at a hotel or something, just used a bath mat and just rolled it. But face cloths are really the perfect size. Then allow yourself to get that alignment through your lower body. So knees or hip distance, check in behind you that your feet line up, hips stack on top of the knees. Allow yourself to find that position where your wrists and elbows are directly underneath your shoulders in shoulder width. Now, take those index fingers, point them forward, spread out those outer three fingers, and then allow the thumbs to rest as much on the towels as possible. So here's option number one that you can do. Let's go through a cat-cow. Now, if you're not using towels at home, that's perfectly okay. Let's go through a cat-cow. Anyway, I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. All right, here we go. So take an inhale, sink your belly, lift your tailbone, shoulder blades back and down, lengthen the front of your neck, looking all the way up. As you exhale, pull that belly up and in, tuck that tailbone under, spread those shoulder blades, chin to chest, look into your belly and relaxing back to neutral. Now, if that's what you have at home, stay right there. I want to go to the next alternative. The next alternative is some sort of viscoelastic gel or silicone. I love these. These are yoga jellies. You place them on your mat. They're used for knees, they're used for wrists, but when you're using them for wrists, you're using the front edge of them for wrists. It allows those carpal bones to not have too much tension, the tendons of your flexors not have too much tension. And then again, if you're using your towels, your face cloth still, line yourself back up, pull those thumbs in as much as you can. Let's go through one more cat-cow in this position. Inhale, sink the belly, lift the tailbone, shoulder blades back and down, lift that chest, gazing upward. And then as you exhale, pull it all up and under. Really allow yourself to tuck that chin to the chest and gaze inward. Voila, perfect. So if that is your tool of choice, it's usually mine. I wanted to give it to you as an option. Just a couple more to go over, guys. A yoga wedge or slant boards are super good for people who have had wrist fractures or wrist sprains because you can use the slant board to keep your wrist out of a tremendous amount of extension, which is usually where the pain is. So this is an example of a slant board where all I would be doing is the same cat-cow, but now my wrists are not in forced extension. All right, you guys at home, find yourself in that hands and knees position again. Let's go through another cat and cow. So in this position, inhale, sink the belly, lift the tailbone, shoulder blades back and down, gazing up as you finish your inhale, and then exhale, pushing everything up and under, tucking that tailbone under, chin to chest, gaze into your belly button. Beautiful. Now, if you have a bolster and you want to use it because you are afraid to practice yoga because of wrist and hand pain, just take your wrists out of the equations. Anything in yoga that you do on hands and wrists, you can do on elbows. So we're going to try, all right, guys, we're going to try one more cat-cow, but we're also going to try dolphin pose. So get your bolster at home or grab a couple of pillows. Rest your elbows up and over, up onto the bolsters, and just let your wrists relax on the other side. So the weight-bearing component of the upper body is the wrist. Check in that they're shoulder width distance, not narrower, not wider. Have your forearms pointed straight ahead of you, just like you would with your index fingers. All right, let's go through a cat-cow before we do dolphin pose. So take that inhale, lift that tailbone, sink that belly, shoulder blades back and down, lengthen the neck, looking all the way up. And then as you exhale, really push through those elbows, spread that shoulder blade, tuck that belly in, tuck that tailbone under, gaze into your belly button. Now, downward dogs, if you have an acute wrist pain, not an option. But let's go through dolphin pose, which is an option. So keep yourself wrists on the bolster, elbows doing nothing at all. I actually did this pose for 6 entire weeks in 2015, a very long time ago, when I had a cast on my wrist. Turn your toes under. All right, push into your elbows. Feel your latissimus muscles engage. Take an inhale and pick your knees up off the floor. And then as you exhale, drop your head to your bolster. Gaze back at your toes. Keep pushing into your elbows. Can you take another deep inhale? And exhale, straighten your knees, push your heels down. All right. Lift that tailbone. Give me a nice deep inhale here. And then as you exhale, slowly drop your knees to the floor, lift your head back up, walk your hands back up onto the bolster, turn your toes under, and find yourself back in that child's pose. Now, as you're sitting back in that child's pose, belly comes onto the thighs, chest onto the knees, crown of the head to the floor. Let those elbows relax down. Let's do 2 beautiful breaths right here. Nice deep inhale into the belly and exhaling out. And one more breath. Nice deep inhale into the belly and exhaling out. Slowly moving back up onto hands and knees. The final position that is the easiest and cheapest of all. Take your yoga mat and double it. Then the edge of that yoga mat, drop your wrists off of it. Another cat-cow. Guys, can you just take a quick second to gaze back at your feet and make sure that you have your alignment? Index fingers are forward, thumbs are inward. Here we go. Inhale, sink the belly, lift the tailbone, shoulder blades back and down, gazing all the way up. And then as you exhale, allow everything to curl up, chin to chest, gaze into your belly button. Coming back down to the center. Now, let's have some fun. You can stay using your yoga mat if you want, but let's have some fun stretching these wrist flexors and wrist extensors. So here's what I want you to do. Find your hands and knees positions, right index finger, turn it around so that your right index finger lines up with your right knee. Left index finger, turn it around so that your left index finger lines up with your left knee. Beautiful, beautiful stretch for your wrist flexors. If you're somebody who has ever had any sort of golfer's elbow or medial epicondylitis, this is your stretch. So maintain your elbow straight, take a nice deep inhale, and as you exhale, gently sit back. Find that stretch that's perfect for you. Take a nice deep inhale here. Exhaling out. One more time, deep inhaling in and exhaling out. You've got it. Turn those hands back around. That is quite the stretch, isn't it? All right, so we got one group of muscles to stretch and we are about done with all this crazy wrist and elbow stuff. And that is our wrist flexors. So they are commonly the muscles that are tight, tense, and weak if you have tennis elbow that's affected by the wrist and hands. And so when you do stretching of the wrist extensors, I never advise people to do both hands together. So let's do one hand at a time here. So take your right hand and palm facing upward, Allow your index finger to once again line up with your right knee. Now, do not force all of your body weight onto that right wrist. You have 8 carpal bones in there, and they'll be very, very unhappy with you if you put your entire weight on that. But here's what I want you to do. Can you try to take your wrist crease and turn it to the top of your mat? So what I am talking about is once you have your index finger in line with your knee, literally turn your wrist creased forward. You will feel the stretch through that forearm. And then in that position, take a nice deep inhale. And as you exhale, just sit back what you feel like you can tolerate. Keep that crease forward. Nice deep inhale, exhaling, sitting back. And one last time, nice deep inhale and exhaling, sitting back. You've got it. Release that right wrist, maybe even do some circles with it. Really excellent stretch to do if you are dealing with tennis elbow or lateral epicondylitis. Let's do the left one. So same deal, turning the palm so that the palm is up, the index finger is pointed towards that left knee. Now, gently place the shoulder up and over that wrist area, so get your alignment. It's all about the rotation of the shoulder here, guys. So can you rotate that crease of your elbow forward? Yes, it may feel not so good. Only go to tension, not to pain. Maintain that elbow crease forward. Can you take a deep inhale here and then exhale, sit back? 2 more breaths, deep inhale here, exhaling, sitting back. And one more time, deep inhale here, exhaling, sitting back. You've got it. Slowly come off of that left wrist and do some circles with that left wrist. Okay, grab your bolster, place your bolster in the center of your mat, and lay yourself down up and over your bolster. So all you're going to do is rest yourself so that your bolster is on your belly and your chest, not your hips and your pelvis. So the whole purpose of using the bolster here is so that you can drop your elbows directly down in alignment with your shoulders. But now we have lots of fun little things that we can do here with these wrists and hands without too much tension on the shoulders. So if you're somebody that's got shoulder issues, this isn't going to make your shoulder worse while you work on your wrists and hands. All right, now in this position, line those forearms forward, index fingers are forward, lengthen the neck, settle the chin, gaze down to your thumbs. Allow your tailbone to settle down, so decompress through your low back here. All right, here we go. Can you take an inhale and just turn the palms upward? And as you exhale, turn it downward. Nice and simple, gaze at those thumbs, keep your neck long, chin tucked. Inhale, up. Exhale, down. So this is pronation, supination, sometimes a weakness of our hands. One more time, inhaling up and then exhaling down. Very good. Now, bring the palms up so that the thumbs are outward. Keep your tailbone relaxed. Elbows are stacked underneath the shoulders. Let's see if we can get those muscles of the shoulder blades and shoulders to engage here. So take a deep inhale and rotate your arms outward. Pull those thumbs out as far as you can. Lengthen your neck, settle your chin, maintain pulling outward with those thumbs. Feel the burning in your shoulders. Give me a nice deep inhale here and exhaling here. One last time, guys. Deep inhale and exhale, relaxing the hands, pushing yourself back up. And after you've pushed yourself back up, take your bolster, move it to the side. If you have a very sensitive low back, you may not want to do this last thing, but if you can tolerate laying on your belly without anything for less than 30 seconds, give it a try. So bring yourself down onto your belly. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to do the ultimate stretch for those bones of our wrist, for our carpal bones. So take your hand, take your arm, and place palm down, thumb out underneath your right leg and pelvis. Then repeat that on the opposite side. Left hand, palm down underneath your left pelvis and leg. Now, allow your crown of your head to rest downward. I'm going to turn my head just so that you can hear me and I can allow my voice to carry. In this position, take a deep inhale, and on the exhale, tuck your tailbone under. Do you feel that stretch into your hands and bones? Now keep that tailbone tucked under. Can you inhale and lift the right leg up? Oh boy, does that feel good on that wrist. And then exhale, drop it down. Keep the tailbone tucked under. Keep pushing that hand into the floor. Let's try the left leg. Inhale, lift it up. Exhaling, relaxing it, and then releasing the tension of your pelvis, bringing your hands upward to the front of your body, dropping your hands underneath your shoulders, bending your elbows, lengthening your neck and your chin, taking a deep inhale here, and then exhaling, pushing yourself back into your final child's pose of your class. So slowly sit the heels onto, or sit bones onto your heels, belly on the thighs, chest onto knees, crown of the head onto the floor. How are those wrists and hands feeling? Take a nice deep inhale into your belly here. And then exhaling out. One more time. Deep inhale in. And exhaling out. Beautiful. Slowly coming up just long enough to lay on your side and gently lower yourself down onto your mat. And then rolling yourself onto your back. Once you're there, gently taking your right knee to your chest, your left knee to your chest, lengthening through your neck, settling your chin, taking a deep inhale. And then as you exhale, pulling those knees into your chest. Keep your neck long, your chin tucked inward. Take a deep inhale here. And exhale. And keeping a hold of your left leg, let your right foot come down to the floor. And then slide your right leg down your mat. Place your left foot on your right thigh. Right hand on the left knee. Left hand out to the side of your body. Take a nice deep inhale here. And then as you exhale, begin to pull that left knee to the right. Pelvis lifts, the low back lifts. The rib cage lifts. Keep that left shoulder blade down. Lengthen your neck, settle your chin. Turn your gaze to the left. 2 deep breaths here. Nice deep inhale in. Exhaling out. One more time. Deep inhale in. And exhaling out. Turning your head back to the center. Starting at that rib cage and de-rotating the rib cage, the low back, the pelvis, the hip. Placing the left foot on the floor, sliding the right leg up. Take the right knee back to your chest and then lay the left leg down onto the mat. Then with the left hand, place the right foot onto the left thigh. Holding on to that right knee with your left hand, gently let your right hand come out to the side of your body. All right, nice deep inhale here. Exhaling, pulling that right knee to the left, lifting the pelvis, lifting the low back, lifting the rib cage, shoulder blade stays down, lengthen the neck, settle the chin, turn your gaze to the right. Nice deep inhale into your belly and exhaling out. And one more breath, deep in and out. Slowly bringing your head and your gaze back to the center, starting to de-rotate that rib cage, then the low back, then the pelvis, and then finally the hip. Placing the right foot flat on the floor, sliding the left leg up, just kind of moving your pelvis wherever is comfortable for you. And then one leg at a time, dropping your heels to the corner of your mat. All right, let your arms be out to the side of your body. Rest your palms upward, lengthen your neck, settle your chin. Keep yourself right here. Go to your index finger and your thumb. Take an inhale, spread them apart. Exhale, bring them together, give them a squeeze. Release. Middle finger and thumb. Inhale, spread them apart. Exhale, bring them together, give them a little squeeze. And release. Ring finger. Inhale, open them apart. Exhale, bring them together, give them a little squeeze. and release. And pinky and thumb. Inhale, open them. Exhale, give them a little squeeze and release. Now completely let your hands relax, your wrists relax. Close your eyes, rest your tongue to the roof of your mouth, and just take these last few seconds to feel your breath. Feel it at your nostrils, at your throat, at your chest, maybe at your belly. Where do you feel your breath? And then very slowly start wiggling those fingers and those toes and circles with those beautiful, happy wrists and ankles as well. And then when you feel like you're ready, slide one leg up followed by the other and let yourself roll over onto your side. Resting there for just a quick moment, nice deep inhale. And then as you exhale, top hand, bottom elbow, push yourself up into a seated position. Hands to the heart, legs gently crossed. Nice deep inhale here. And exhale. Namaste. The highest in me salutes the highest in you. And thank you very much for joining me today. Hopefully, some of the modifications we talked about with the wrists and hands will help you practice yoga for a very long time.